The ideas relating to what we call Marxism was first put forward by Karl Marx, a German philosopher, and Friedrich Engels, a German sociologist, in their book Communist Manifesto. One of the foundational ideas of communism is that common ownership could create classless society. In this classless society, everyone is equal. History for Marx and Engels is a series of class struggles. The aim of communism is to push this struggle to a close, where violent uprising of the working classes, the proletariat, would overthrow the aristocracy and middle class, the bourgeoisie, resulting in the leveling of economic difference. In this process, the wealth of the affluent would be equally distributed to eliminate economic difference. The two terms I mentioned, the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, are important. The term proletariat refers to the working class. In Marxist philosophy, these are people who work in the cities in industrial positions and factories. Bourgeoisie is the Marxist term for middle classes, people who work in professional and skilled employment. Marxism is a materialist philosophy. It is concerned with empirical difference. It is concerned not with abstract ideas but with physical and tangible reality of existence. Class relations and structures that we see in society are real. They cannot be reduced to a matter of language. They exist outside of our imaginative and descriptive worlds. Marxists see society as a combination of base and superstructure. The base is the material means of production, and superstructure is the cultural world surrounding it: art, literature, philosophy, religion, and law. The correlation between base and superstructure is very strong. The cultural world is determined by the economic base. This suggests that the center of all artistic expression, its nature and purpose, is the economic system. This is what Marxists refer to as economic determinism. How is Marxism helpful in literary study? Marxist theory helps us to examine the class politics of the novels. It situates literature within this class politics. According to Marxist critics, literature cannot be removed from economic circumstances of production and the social context that shape this production. Since the base determines the superstructure, arts which is part of superstructure inform each other and reinforce their relationship. Therefore, it is impossible for literature to step outside the context of its production. The interconnection between base and superstructure makes literature part of the economic realities. Ideology is the system of ideas foundational for political thinking. Ideology is the ideas in a society that serve as the foundation of people's opinions, which contribute to political activity. The dominant ideology is held by those in power or by the majority in society. According to Marxism, ideology is a set of ideas held by the elite, which they use for power to maintain. This in turn helps them keep their position of economic dominance. Ideology is presented by the state as natural. The concept of ideology is further developed by Althusser. Ideology for him represents the imaginary relationship of individuals to the real conditions of existence. Althusser, by extending Marxist idea of ideology, explains how ideologies are produced. Ideologies are at work through two separate forces. First, the repressive state apparatus. The government structures such as law, police, military, which enforce the rule either through violence or coercion. Second is the ideological state apparatus that exists outside of official government structures like schools, religious institutions, and family. Here, there is no threat of violence, but rather a fear of being socially rejected or ridiculed. Ideology speaks to the individual and gives them recognition. This Althusser calls interpellation. A school teacher calling us by name or receiving blessing at a religious ceremony make us recognize as individuals and make us feel secure. However, here state apparatuses are involved in the subject's sense of self, and therefore the idea of resisting them is unattractive. Althusser assumes that the state apparatus describes the transmission of ideology not through force but through consent. Gramsci thinks that the state controls its people through coercion rather than violence. This Gramsci names as hegemony. Hegemony is state control through coercion rather than force. The state operates through religion, family, education, and culture to control the people. In hegemony, people are often not aware they are being controlled, but they are manipulated by the social structures they are part of. Literature, like other creative forms, is formed in relation to ideology and can serve hegemony. Unlike philosophy, politics, or religion, the arts are given special place by Marx as being capable of working both for and against ideological systems. Their unique nature, their creative power, means they hold a radical potential not seen in more explicitly institutional structures.